All right. Well, I'm not sure if anybody's seeing this, but the old one crashed for some reason. Hello again, Neon. I apologize for that. The game, I don't know what happened there. Actually, everything flickered here at the house. I think we had a bit of a power interruption for just a second. I apologize for that, but it crashed the stream. I think power and internet went out for just a second. All my clocks are blinking. Cut off at... Oh, did it cut off at 2 hours? Normally it shouldn't. Intriguing. I had a flicker, so I thought maybe it was that, but maybe it's not. I guess that clock's blinking. That might have been blinking from the other day. I'm not sure. Well, I apologize. I'm going to give it a minute and hope everybody can catch up here. I'll give it a minute to see if everybody who was in that stream can find this one. I apologize for that. I'm not sure what all happened there. It cut me off. You know, it cut us off streaming the other day, too, and I had to open another one. I'm going to have to look and see if there's something that's set up that's cutting it off at 2 hours, because that shouldn't happen. I mean, it may have been the 2 hours. You're right. It could have been right at that. I'm not sure. I apologize if for that happening. If I may ask, because I didn't notice it right up first, what was the last part you heard me say? I apologize that we got kicked and I had to get a second one there. I was going to ask because I want to make sure you guys didn't miss anything I was saying there. We're actually getting right near the end anyways. We've only got about 5 or 10 minutes left at most, so we were right near the end of it. So yes. Let me see. So I think the last thing I was saying is that Shadow they all gathered up and they wanted to get out of the room because obviously they didn't want to get sick or infected from whatever that lump of halfling now was. They looked around. They didn't see anything loot-oriented. Nothing of value. See, the herb that... Loopy, and then asked where the drow went, and they spun the necklace. Okay, so yes. So they spun the necklace. They saw that there was that it went out the door. Shadow says, hey, we've got to get out of here. That halfling mess on the ground is very bad, and I'm afraid it's going to infect us with something. We need to get out of here before it gets worse, and there's nothing here of value. That artifact is definitely with the drow. We need to catch up with them if we can. So Michael and Dandy helping each other, and Artemis and Shadow helping Zarin up, who at this point is pretty much out of it. A little bit loopy because of, the drug. Stronger physically because of the healing spells, but out of it for the pain and such. Artemis is helping him while Shadow kind of goes ahead. They go out through that doorway, and there's a tunnel that leads out and around. And they travel up this tunnel for about 15 minutes. Would have only been 5 minutes if they didn't have so many people injured and going slow, but they get up to the top. And at the top, they find an iron door. Shadow is very careful about it. He calls to Dandy, who comes up, checks it to make sure that there's no magical traps on it. Artemis at this point has no spells left to try to detect magic. They've got to take a gamble. They open up the door. Opening up the door, the sunlight comes in. And they see that they're up further in the mountain. Not a long ways, but there's a path leading down. And looking down, and the sun is just rising. I should say that. It's gloomy. It's not bright sunlight. It's just rising. But there's enough sunlight that you can see. And looking down at the base, there's a winding path down at the bottom. They can see 6 horses. And all of them with drow riders. And they're at a distance, they can't make out. One of them waves, and taking his horse, they take off at great speed. They're out of range for Shadow to shoot any arrows at this point. They're too far away. They don't have horses. They have nothing they can do but watch the drow with what they're assuming is an artifact going off into the distance, heading further to the west. Not much can be done about it. They'll have to try to catch up with them later. At this point, Shadow's like, okay, at least we know there's no threats right here. We need to get to safety. So the friends, they make their way down the rock, the mountain. It's very slow going. There's a path there, but it's not a very good one. They finally get to the bottom. They get near some trees. They're like, okay, they set up a little camp area. They're going to have to rest here. Shadow is the healthiest pretty much of all of them at this point. He's going to take primarily the watch, but Artemis, they're all going to kind of rest and do what they can. They figure they're going to have to spend at least a day here. They hate being this close to the doors for fear that other ogres or something else may come by, but they're just not in shape for long-range travel at this point. They don't see any of the other humans from the mines. They can only hope that they got out okay. They're a good distance from the other. They can tell that they are. If you remember when I said that they were going west, right? So they're going west up and around this thing. The kind of at the tip of it is where they went in, but they're coming out further up here to the northwest. So hopefully they went south the direction they originally told them to, and they'll be okay. But our heroes decide they're going to have to make camp, rest up, do what they can to try to regain their spells. Zaren's going to need some time to heal, and Michael, well, is about ready to fall over himself. So they decide at this point they're going to have to rest, and then as soon as they can, they're going to have to try to find a way to track down that drow, because they have complete faith he has one of the artifacts. And he's taking it to the darkness that they do not want to have it. And that's where I'm going to call it for the day. That's where I would have called it. We were like 5 minutes short. The stream kicked us. So just a little bit of finishing up. There is one last Dungeons & Dragons style thing that I want to mention about the world. And this isn't coming into play now, but it may come into play later. Divine intervention. I assume most people understand what that term means. When a god or holy being directly intervenes into your situation. When I play Dungeons & Dragons, every character, regardless of what class they are, whether they're a warrior or a cleric, whatever, if they worship a god, everyone has the ability to pray and ask for divine intervention. Okay? You can literally only try one time and pass or fail. You can't try again until you've gained another level. So it's something you save for a situation, and you don't even know if it's going to work, because you have a 1% chance of it succeeding per your level. So if you're a 5th level warrior, and you worship the god of war, or the god of light, maybe, you have a 5% chance, one time, for your god to directly intervene on your behalf. The only exception to that rule are clerics, not druids or paladins, but straight clerics. They have a 2% chance per level, because they are direct minions of their god. Their god's already relatively in contact with them, giving them spells every day and putting their magic lessons into them. They have a 2% chance, but they still only get to try one time. Pass or fail, you don't get to try again until you've gained another level, until you are more experienced, more in communion with your god, whatever the case may be. That's kind of what the level thing means. I've now grown closer to my god through my experience and working on my god's behalf. Regardless, rogues could pray to the god of light, could pray to the god of death, whatever. Assassin could pray to the god of death. Good or bad, anybody has that chance. They can attempt it one time, then they can't try again until they've gotten a level. So that's something that I wanted to mention. That's the thing I wrote down that I talked about earlier when they were fighting and such. Artemis did not try to see divine intervention in this situation. Nobody did. It's not something that most people even think of. In the middle of a fight, it's not your first reaction. But it is something that is important to the characters, and one of the things that I put in my homebrew version of the game. That is a lot of fun. It's a tiny gamble, and on the rare chance that it works, it has some pretty spectacular effects depending on who succeeds. So we'll watch out for that later. But I'm going to call that a day for there. If you do have any quick questions you want to throw into the chat about anything we went over today or a previous stream, please throw those in there. I'll give a minute to see if anybody has any. While that's going on, I'm just going to talk a couple things. If you enjoyed the stream, you had a good time here today, you liked it, I'd appreciate if you wouldn't mind clicking the like button. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. That way you can see all my videos, tutorials, and streams as they come out. You can also go to Onlydraven.com, my website, where you'll see my streaming schedule, links to all my videos, as well as all the Mergeworld videos. You'll also be able to see all my social platforming networks, Facebook, Instagram. You can follow me on any of those if you'd like. I try to be active, especially on Twitter and Facebook. You also find all the different information about Mergedworlds, like all the different character photos that we talked about. So you can see a lot of those there as well. If you'd like to be able to listen to this again, maybe you don't have time to sit and watch 2 hours of me yapping on video, you can go to iTunes. Mergeworlds is available as a podcast. The first 5 episodes are up. This one will be up tomorrow. Even though it's going to show up as 2 videos on the channel, I will edit this into just 1 audio file. So episode 6 will just be 1. But on the website, if you're watching this, there's a 6 and a 6.5. if you're watching the video version of it. But on the audio podcast, that should be up by tomorrow. I like to have it up within 24 hours. So expect that if you'd like to listen to it, as well as any of the previous. If you're checking out the podcast, it'd be great if you did. If you wouldn't mind giving it a rating, if you want to leave a review, that would be awesome as well. If you enjoy it, it'd be awesome. I'm trying to point more people towards the podcast. Hopefully it's convenient for people. But regardless, whether you're watching this live while I'm streaming, watching the video later, or listening to me on iTunes, I appreciate everybody who comes by and listens to this story and gives me feedback and kind of runs along with me. The story means a lot to me. I've said it many times, and it's really a big honor to be able to share it with everybody out there. I've been doing this story for over 25 years, and it's something I'm happy to finally get out to other people. But that being said, I am going to go ahead and call this one a day. Thank you all very much for watching and coming by today. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to giving you more story, more Merged World. 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing it on Sunday, 8 p.m. 2 weeks from now. So thank you all very much for coming by. I appreciate it. Hope you all have yourself a great evening.